Okay, so I posted a picture of my 3.5-year-old horse's healthy thoracic sling. Went off to go ride a horse and came back to a full inbox of people saying, "Oh my God, can you please show me the exercises that you do?" So, okay, fine. This is my 2.5-year-old quarter horse Winnie. I've picked her out of the pasture because if a 2-year-old horse can do these exercises, your puffy horse that doesn't do much for a living, I'm sure, can do them too. So, everything that I do is pretty non-invasive. I do this with them from the time that they start as yearlings. The first exercise to do is to make sure that the brachiocephalicus muscle is soft. I'm going to bring her around since this side has mane, you can't really see it. Let's turn this way, baby. There we go. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to encourage her to just reach down. So the brachiocephalicus muscle is right here. And if your horse is relying on that muscle in order to be able to remain upright and stable, you'll notice that that muscle on them is probably bigger and more developed than what's up here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just encourage that horse to stretch down until that musculature is wiggle wobbly and soft. Another key performance indicator to tell me that the brake is off is if I can see their pulse coming up their neck this way. And you'll see just like a little undulation of basically their circulation coming up their neck to know that it is nice and soft. So that's one thing that I can do in just my daily handling and reminder with the horse, is just to have them stretch down, break off, and to get into a more relaxed state of mind. Another one of the exercises that I do, so that first one there is from Balance Through Movement method. Another one that I do is from Masterson. I'm going to turn her around so that you can see this one. Show them your butt, pretty lady. Okay, stand. So this next one, you're going to take their tail, right where their tail meets their body, and you're going to basically wiggle their body. So I'm going to pull, release, pull, release, pull, release, pull, release. Right at the very high point of the dock, right up here. Pull, release, pull, release, pull, release, pull, release. And you can see that it's a fairly fast wiggle. It's like more than one per second. And we're going to continue to do this until we start to see a release throughout her whole body. It's already got that lip twitching. Starting to see a whole lot more wiggling throughout her whole body. She's going to try to turn around and ask for rewards here in a minute. No, ma'am. There are no treats involved. Thank you. No, ma'am. This one I find is a lot more effective to do in the cross ties, in an area where they're used to being stationary. No, ma'am. Come here. So that you don't have them walking up and asking for permission to do things. Especially for my gray horse, I can do this, and usually by the third or fourth wiggle of like 1, 2, 3, 4, he's already yawning and releasing. I like to do that as like a nice warm-up exercise. We've got lots of blinks happening. Good girl. All right. And I like to be able to release the tension through the back like that before I do any of the other thoracic lifting exercises. The next one that I do, I actually learned from Jillian Higgins. This one is where you locate the manubrium of the sternum. It is a pointy protrusion right in between the front pectoral muscles here. So like where their boobs come together. You're going to feel a bony point that almost feels like the breastbone on a chicken. And you're going to place your fingers or the heel of your hand, whatever feels most comfortable there. And then what you're going to be doing is you're going to have a gentle lift in energy up towards where your hand is going to be positioned at T10. So think of like where the withers turn into back. Okay? Step forward one. Step forward. Good girl. Good. Get square. Good girl. Good. Stop. Okay. So for this, what we're going to see is a very, very subtle change in the lifting and opening of the sternum here. What this does is it's a lift and center and take ownership of your entire thorax, and then as I release, then she relaxes down. Lift and take ownership, relax down. I do 10 reps of this every single time before I ride. I do 10 reps of this for each one of my horses when they come in for feeding time. They're all pretty well versed into what to do with this. We go up, down, up, down. Up, up. No man, come forward. Good. Up. So it's a very, very subtle change. You may not be able to see this one on video. Let me bring her forward so that you can see what I'm doing to her chest here in the front. Ooh. Locate the manubrium of the sternum. It's very, very subtle. Up, down, up, quiet, down, up. She may move that leg. Good girl. Ooh. Up, down. You got a buggy? Good. And then the next one that we do, everybody's pretty familiar with belly lifts, but everybody likes to do them in a very harsh and crude way. We're told to like use a hoof pick, really get at them underneath of their belly. And what you're doing when you use harsh methods is that you are activating reactive muscles instead of stabilizer muscles. Horses have two different categories of muscles. They have stabilizer muscles and global muscles. Global muscles are what get them from point A to point B. Stabilizer muscles are what are used for balancing. So if you think of it as the two different types of yoga, we use stabilizer muscles in pose yoga. And those are the sort of muscles that in most of the work that we do with horses, we completely ignore. And they are the ones that give them the most sustainable posture and soundness. So instead of going underneath her belly and scratching like crazy, I'm going to take the palm of my hand. I'm going to place it on her belly. And just by doing that, there's a subtle change that I see happen here through her top line. I'm going to pet forward with the grain and then back. And this is just the palm of my hand. You can see how much core activation that we get from that. Very good girl. Now, after I've done that, I can also incorporate a gentle tickle over her gluteal muscles, or I can incorporate the manubrium and I can lift the manubrium and then pet through the belly. Lift the manubrium, pet through the belly. So she starts to have this understanding of how she can lift and rotate through her thorax. Good girl. I know, you're being a good girl. All right. Some of the other exercises that we can do. Make sure I'm still in frame. Good girl. One more so that you're not waiting that leg. Good girl. Is we can pick up a front limb. No, don't eat me. Pick up a front limb and hold it with the knee still perpendicular with the ground, and then make small circles and bring it away from the body and then in line. Away from the body and in line. Not a lot. I'm bringing it away from the body maybe about 6 inches. Do that with each leg. Good girl. And then the last exercise that I like to do, I'm going to spin you around again to show this side of your body. Yeah? Okay, let's make sure that you're in frame. You are. Stand. Stand. I'm going to place one hand on either side of her tail. My fingertips are in line with where her tail turns into her butt. My thumbs are about 1 inch away from her tail, and I'm going to brush the hair against the grain. Keep your head straight, madam. So I'm pushing against the grain, release, hope, against the grain, release, against the grain, release. And just those subtle changes, we can start to see how she has to make changes in her stabilizer muscles in order to be able to have those subtle activations. So even just doing those small little exercises are a good phase one to strengthening your horse's thoracic sling. There's other groundwork exercises, obviously, that you can do on top of that. But until you are very, very well versed in doing these things and incorporating these into your daily habit, there's no sense in adding anything more. So get started here. You're a good girl. She's like, you have snacks in your pocket and I want them.